Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for coming to the June 11th Harlem Neighborhood Block Association meeting. So happy to have you. Give yourselves a hand for coming out at 7 o'clock this evening on a great night when you could be doing something else, but I'm glad that you came to join us at this meeting. It's very important. We have asked some guests to come this evening and we want to hear from them. We want you to be able to ask questions because I'm not going to say a lot because I want to let them introduce themselves. But basically, the rundown is we're going to be starting off with the National Black Theater Ray Company. That's at 125th Street and 5th Avenue. And we have here two speakers that will be talking to us this evening. Annalise Cooper Hackman, I've been practicing her name. She is the Programming and Partnership Director. And then we have Laura Robb, who is the Managing Director of LMXD. So they're going to be talking to us about that new property on 125th and 5th Avenue. Tell us about what they're doing. And then, of course, you'll have a few minutes to ask questions that you might want to pose to them after the presentation. So I'm going to turn it over to them so we can keep this process moving. Welcome, Laura and Annalise.
Hey everyone, I'm Laura. Hey, I'm Anais. We're super happy to be here and we hope that we can work the technology. Of course, this is super tiny, but I know the theme, so kind of like I can see. So I'm from LMXD, which is an affiliate company of L&M Development Partners, and we're a developer here in New York. We've been around since the 1980s. Bread and butter is affordable housing, but we do a lot of sort of mixed income stuff around the city. I'm specifically on the mixed income team. So what that means is really sort of split properties where you'll have affordable and also market living together in sort of more synergistic communities, which is really great. I'm on the development team. We have a construction company which actually built this building. And we also have a management company, which is not managing this building in particular, but manages a lot of our properties around New York City. Next.
And again, I'm Anais Cooper Hackman. Thanks for having me tonight. And I'm the Programming and Partnerships Director for Ray. And Ray is a multifamily real estate brand. So we partner with developers like L&M, with property management companies like Greystar and leasing teams like Compass, with architects like on this project, Frida Escobedo Studios and Handel Architects, along with interior design teams. This project, it was Little Wayne Lee from Studio and Projects, who worked very closely with our in-house design team to build apartment buildings that are design forward, we like to call it, and often include some kind of public-facing art spaces. And on this project, you'll know, of course, the National Black Theater is our partner on the redevelopment of this site. And we have 3 other projects that are currently open or under construction. Ray Harlem was the first that we founded the company with in 2019. So we're a brand, and the only other building we have open at this time is Ray Philly, which opened in 2023, and then Phoenix and Ray Nashville, which are opening in 2026 and 2027.
Told you, I knew I was gonna have problems with technology. Okay. Great. I can't see anything on this here. Little. Oh, thanks. Oh, thank you. Okay, so just a little bit about the building itself. You've probably seen it by now if you've gone by 125th and 5th Avenue, which we basically completed construction last month, as evidenced by a TCO. We still have a little bit of work to do at the top of the building and the base of the building, and then we have some interior fit outs and things to do still. But generally speaking, if you look at the building from the outside, you see it's done. It's a 21-story mixed-use mixed-income building, and it has about 260,000 gross square feet over the whole building. So some highlights: we have on the ground floor, we have retail on 5th Avenue and 125th Street. On the second floor, we have a commercial space, and then the theater will be on the 3rd and 4th floors. They also will have a lobby on 5th Avenue, basically where their lobby was actually in the old building, and a workshop in the cellar where they can build their sets and such. Overall, there's 222 units in the building. 164 are market rate and 58 are affordable. So it's a 75-25, so it's 75% market rate and 25% affordable. The affordable apartments are affordable under 2 programs, both mandatory inclusionary housing, which Diane here helped get to make that happen, and also a 421A tax abatement, which is sort of the old city program for mixed income housing for non-subsidized buildings. There's no public subsidy in the base building as well. The building, has a robust amenity package, which will show you a lot of imagery later in the presentation on the residential side, which is mostly located on the 5th floor, which includes a gym, a yoga studio, a library, and co-working lounge. We have bike storage on 2 different floors because of some funny zoning stuff. We have this Tulu shop, which residents can rent various appliances or rent a blow-up mattress, certain things that they may need but can't fit in their apartments. And then also a 21st floor roof deck with a communal kitchen. Generally speaking, the units are also, I forgot to mention, sort of studio, 1 bedroom and 2 bedrooms. And the affordable apartments are 10% at 40% AMI, area medium income, and then 10% at 60% AMI, and another 5% at 130. Anais is just going to introduce, theater a little bit.
I'm sure all of you are familiar with the National Black Theater, but just a little bit about them. They have obviously had a presence at 125th and 5th for a very long time. So this project definitely wouldn't be possible for Ray without their partnership on it. And founded by Dr. Barbara Antier in 1968. It's really exciting to be part of this redevelopment project with them, and also, supporting them to continue their ownership model. So they actually own their floors of the building. And it's not like they're sort of like renting out of our space. We're 2 separate entities that are living collaboratively in this new base building at 125th and 5th. And lots of highlights here, but I'll just mention that, MBT among them is the oldest Black theater in the country and the longest owned and operated by a Black woman, which is very exciting. And they've produced over 300 original theater works that have toured the US, the Caribbean, Central America, Africa, and Asia.
Oh, I think I got it. So, see here an actual photo of the building, which was probably taken 2 weeks ago. So I don't know if anyone has gone by recently, but there, it's big. So just a quick timeline on the project. We have limited time. So we completed rezoning back in 2017, which allowed for a visual performing arts bonus, which this project is actually the first project to use it in New York City, which essentially, you'll deliver the theater to the theater, and they will fit it out, and we get an FAR bonus at the top of the building. So that's very unique and cool art process to be a part of. We then sort of reconfigured with the Ray Group in 2020, and we start construction in 2022. And as I mentioned in the beginning, we just received our first TCO in May. So we expect substantial completion, which means sort of all TCOs and sort of finished base building work by Q3 of this year. And we've begun lease up, and as I said, people have started moving into the building last week, so that's really exciting for us. The lease up is going really well. And then MBT, intends to start their construction by the end of the year, and they have about a year-long fit out for the theater space itself, which is over 45,000 square feet. And then they'll open in Q1 of 2027. You do that, I do this. Teamwork. And so we're excited to share with you some renderings, which you might have seen, and then some new photos that we haven't yet published. So here's some exterior renderings. On the right here, we have that corner of 125th and 5th. And then on the left side, that's the main residential entrance on 5th Avenue. And then there's also a secondary residential entrance for Ray on 126th Street. And then on 5th Avenue here, right next to the residential entrance, is a food and beverage space. And as Laura mentioned earlier, we also have some retail on 5th and 125th here. Here is our lobby. On the left side, you can kind of see where that sort of gold painted wall is. That's the 126th Street entrance. And then on the right rendering, our main lobby space that actually connects to the food and beverage space. There's a door on the right side of that rendering that goes straight into food and beverage and then through to the National Black Theater's lobby. So there's this really beautiful sort of connection within the ground floor across 5th Avenue. And then 5th floor, some of our amenities, the yoga and fitness space, which are across from each other with an outdoor courtyard. Know what the special touch is.
Yeah. We also have a co-working space with a library, with a bunch of just big format, colorful art books and books on New York and all kinds of fun stuff. And a living room that it has AV access for streaming a game or a presentation, or hopefully also some like National Black Theater productions for residents. And then the 22nd floor also has the communal kitchen and our rooftop terrace, which has like outdoor grilling stations. And this will be a space again for residents, and then we'll also use for, I'll speak a little bit about it further in the presentation, but we'll be open for like sometimes like community activations with some of our partners as well. And then lots of new photos of our model apartments. We're very excited about. We would love for you to come see. Yeah, that's great. And again, a mix of studio, 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom units that are available now. And there's a view of Marcus Garvey. It's been really fun to see the trees come alive again in the springtime. This guy. Wait, should I try this one?
Their laptop doesn't actually have the presentation.
Now we're dueling. Oh wait.
Yeah, oh, you did.
Okay, wait,
Oh, that
sure.
works better.
Okay, this one's a little bit better.
We have outdoor
And
space.
then,
This is,
yeah,
okay, sorry, I took over
balcony,
your
yeah.
slide. I forgot.
Please. And then we have, do you have balconies?
I can't remember the exact number, but it's
Yeah.
substantial, something like 30%. We have like these type of balconies, which are very large, but also just sort of, very small balconies across a lot of different lines, just to make sure that people have outdoor space. And that's split evenly across the affordable and the market. Oh wait, that does work way better.
Great. And then programming. So these are photos from our Philly project, since that's the only building we have open at the moment. You'll hear a lot about Philly when I talk about Ray. And we're excited to bring some of the format of programming that we launched in Philly to Harlem. So these are just some photos of some of the events that we hosted for residents over the past 2 years. On the top right, they're like these little ceramic creatures. We actually have an artist who is doing a residency at a ceramics facility next door to the building. And we've worked with them to offer a concession for them to provide programming for our residents, and also to, in the middle there, a photo of a tour we hosted of that play facility with the artist. So looking for different ways that we can get involved with nonprofit arts organizations and encourage our residents to connect with local arts artists. And then on the bottom line, you'll see a collage making workshop. We often work with local artists to compensate them to come in and lead programs for residents. We love also when those people live in the building. So if we have folks that live in the building and want to offer programming, we'll give them, a stipend or pay for materials for them to lead that. So we've just found that offering like art and culture experiences has been a really great way to connect people within the building, and then also with the larger creative community in the cities that we build. And then just a little bit more about some ongoing partnerships. So obviously we have our partnership with the National Black Theater, who is our main cultural partner on this project. And we're very much looking forward to their space being completed so that we can continue to build deeper partnerships between our two brands. We're also working on, we have been for quite some time, trying to figure out some sort of like artist residency program. So we're intending to develop a program with NBT where they have access to some apartments within the rig portion of the building, so that we can find different ways to, again, like support the creative community and NBT directly. And then we partnered with Harlem Shake, Harlem Cycle, the Oma Shop, the Apollo Theater, to offer discounts to residents to, again, try and get our residents to be engaged in the local creative community and economy. And we're always looking to have, more conversations with folks based in the neighborhood. So we'd love to connect about different ways that we can be in partnership. And then just another one, we worked with Plant Corner, which is a plant shop here in Harlem, and sourced all of our plants from them. And then I've also brought them on to do ongoing maintenance. So we just look for different ways that we can work with local or smaller businesses to, keep our building moving and our residents engaged. And my email's there, but it's also later in the presentation too. Great, and so this QR code would take you to our website. The website is also listed there, harlem.place, not .com, it's .place. So you can check out the website, fill out the contact form if you're interested in a tour, and then we included some other emails on there, mine, Laura's, some of the press stuff, Instagram, all of that stuff. So different ways to get in contact with us.
Take questions? Here goes.
I have a mic.
Couple slides. I like those, I like what you say. Yeah, we had a few more slides, but I don't know what happened. It's like.
Any questions? I can bring the mic to you.
I don't need that.
No, you do.
The people online need it. Of the 25%, is that going through Housing Connect?
Yes, yeah.
And is that a lottery still open?
No, the lottery's closed. Yeah,
Okay.
that whole process was a couple months. Sorry.
Thank you.
The process was a couple months ago. So the lottery closed a couple months ago. We received something like 70,000
Yeah, I know.
applications. And they're now leasing affordable apartments. We were just, by the time we sort of went through all the applications, they're now touring affordable tenants and signed the first leases last week.
Right, so the rest of the apartments, which is the 75%, is available, right?
Correct. Yeah, we started leasing those a month ago.
Are they all market rate?
The 75%? Yeah, so the 75% are sort of unrestricted and the 25% are. all-
Right, restricted.
Yeah, restricted,
Okay,
exactly.
yeah.
Anyone else?
Back to the lower income apartments. So, I only noticed from, a notice from this organization that there were even apartments available. So how was that advertised? Was it only on, New York City Housing Connects? Because other apartment buildings have literally put signage out front. I live around the corner from there and I looked constantly and I never saw any signage out front. So everyone doesn't, especially in this community, they don't have access to computers or whatever. So, I think it's disingenuous to even say that they're 25% market, non-market rate of apartments when no one knows.
Yeah, we did advertise in a number of different outlets, like those, I don't know the exact ones, because it's not part
Nor
of
do
my.
I.
But, local news outlets, both online and in paper, there's requirements around it. So there's at least 5 of them that you advertise within 2 months of time
Was
leading
it
up to
posted
the
on the
lottery.
building? Was it
No, we
posted
didn't
at the
have physical
construction site?
postings because we were under construction. It's tough.
The building around the corner, they also had construction, yet outside of their construction area, they posted it so that people, when they walk by, they could see it. Again, I just think it's disingenuous. Yes, you got so many applications, but those are from people that are not in this neighborhood. I'm sure if you
Well,
own,
we have community
the
board
percent?
preference.
okay,
and
so
there
what
we-
is the
in our filling
percentage?
spots.
What's the percentage of those, 70,000 applications
I
that
don't-
you
I
received
don't know
that
off the
are
top of my head.
actually community board residents?
I can get that information for you.
Small.
Any other questions? Yes.
People online,
25% already been gone.
They're gone.
It's not gone. No, they're not signed leases, but the lottery, like the 70,000 people, you have to work through them, right, and you have to qualify, there's income.
You can get, so that,
Sorry, say that again?
it's essentially gone, because you're gonna get 25% out of 70,000.
Yeah, so it's posted for 60 days or whatever the requirements are, and that's the process.
Yeah.
In this project, I mean, it's not signed leases, but correct, like you can't go to the lottery today, that's the city process, it's just a restricted period. And then for renewals, there's a due process that, you can continue to apply for the renewals and as they come up.
One more, forget it, stop it.
I just want to add to what you said, because I think most of the people here don't, the affordable housing is 25% of whatever the total number is.
Right. 58
Based on your
units.
AMI, and the AMI, is extremely high in New York City. The other issue, to your point about community, they changed the law. The law is now only 10% community participation of those units. So even if you have, 55 units, I think, of 25 of your
We have 58.
58 units, 10% would go to the community.
As preference.
As a
That's preference,
preference.
it's preference, but that
As
doesn't
You have
mean
to
that
fill
they
that.
wouldn't qualify
Right.
any other way.
Yeah,
That's
but
preference
when you
eventually.
have 70,000, it's open to everyone understands, it's open to the entire city. That's why you have 70,000 people. Whenever there's an affordable housing project, it's more than 70,000 people. For those who are interested naturally on any affordable housing, you should really reach out to Housing Connect and find a way to communicate, whether it's through the computer or just be online, mail it to you or whatever, so that you know when it's available. I hear what you're saying. It's not,
Even to get it mailed, you have to be on the computer.
you have to,
ask them
yeah,
to mail.
I know, it's not, very
It's-
convoluted, it's
It's fine
extreme.
for us, but it's not fine for our community.
I know. Well, it is what it is.
Yes, yeah. Thank you. I'm gonna have to stop, but one quick one?
Yes.
Okay.
What happens to an apartment when, the person, one of the affordable apartments, when they move out, is the apartment still affordable forever, or does it?
Yeah, no, they're permanently restricted. There's a recorded deck on the property, so it will never be on the market in terms of market rate.
Thank you.
I don't have time for one more. No, I don't. But you can sidebar.
Give her
Thank you.
contact information. so-
Yes, and actually Laura and Enemies said that they would send us an updated deck so that we can send it around, and Abasi will make sure that everyone on our mailing list will get it. Okay? Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Enemies. Who's in my hand? Not do double. But our next speaker for tonight is from the Davis Companies, and their property is on 126th Street and Madison Avenue. That's the new build where the Methodist Church once was. So now in that footprint, we have another building. And we have Stephen Scolas, and he's going to talk to us about that new building. Give him a hand.
I'll have to open this up on
Oh, no.
the desktop.
Back.
Ah. Oh, that's something there. Oh, that's good. Use this clicker here. All right, perfect. Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm Stephen Scolas, the Senior Vice President at the Davis Companies and Head of Development for our multi-family platform nationally. Just a little bit quickly about Davis. We're a firm that's nearly 50 years old. We're headquartered in Boston, Massachusetts, with a local office here in New York. We invest across the country in multifamily, industrial and life sciences and student housing, pretty much any asset type under the sun, and we're vertically integrated. Development has always been a big part of our investment thesis, but we invest in a lot of other ways across the country. So just a little bit about myself. I'm a native New Yorker. Spent most of my career here in New York and actually helped start Davis's office here in New York City. We have a regional office here in Greenwich Village, and we're excited to deliver more of a boutique size residence than some of our competitors in the region to the Harlem community. I would say, we chose this specific submarket because we believed in the growth prospects of this community and a lot of exciting things happening here. With some of the infrastructure investment that's coming to the area, some of the other residents are coming, and to be able to contribute to a housing need across the city, even if it's in a smaller way, is always a great thing. As mentioned, this was the former Methodist Church site. Our partner Eloise Capital on this acquired the site in 2018, had demolished the church, which was abandoned for a number of years. Was actually pursuing that with a different developer, and the project was a little bit different at that time. It was somewhat stalled for a little bit of time. We came in, brought a lot of fresh equity to it, and took charge and replaced the former developer, retooled this project to bring the kind of affordable levels, and I'd say that with a capital A and more of a lowercase, more attainable housing, since its previous kind of design was a little bit more hybrid between a condo and rental. This is a pure rental product. We are also part of the city's former 421A program. This is a 30% affordable product within this, and there's 97 total units. So we started construction in the fall of 2023. We have one cellar level here with some parking and some amenities in that area, and then 8 stories above grade. So the ground floor will have the entrance to the building. There'll be a number of residents with some private terraces towards the back. Some of the amenities, which I'll go into a little bit later in the presentation. And then a corner restricted community facility use. And so we're actively in the market right now trying to attract a qualifying tenant. And so that usually is some sort of a medical clinic or a daycare center. We've been in a number of conversations. I would love to attract a daycare center here. It's actually a really good footprint. It's roughly 2,500 square feet here. And then floors 2 through 8 are all residential. So like I said, this is 30% affordable. A lot of the affordable units are kind of scattered throughout the building across all facades. This building enjoys some really unique neighborhood views. So we just love the character of the kind of urban fabric here in the townhouses. We wanted to celebrate the material of the former Methodist church with a GFRC panel. So it's this masonry, kind of rich, kind of purpley red material, and floor to ceiling glass here. You know, we always look at this as not just a building that will be for the residents who are there, but there's always a civicness to these buildings. They're pretty permanent. And now you're building buildings for 50 to 100 years. So they're in that community for quite a long time. And so from its aesthetic integrity and from its material integrity, it really needs to withstand the test of time and really be there for the community as well. We're also celebrating wellness quite a bit within our amenity program and plant life that will be brought into this. The entire perimeter on Madison Avenue and 126th Street will have very deep planted plant beds there between the retail space and the units that will be across the ground level. And we try and celebrate that even within the residents themselves. I personally love the very mature trees along 126th Street there. When you go up into some of the upper floors, even 2, 3, 4, 5, it really feels like you're living kind of among the trees, which is really kind of a nice quality. And you get some beautiful, you know, vignettes of some of the townhouses there. So I prepared a couple just, you know, slides of what the interiors look like. Try and get this to, where did you guys point? There did you? This is just kind of a typical interior here. I should mention, you know, we hired a pretty stellar local team here. It's the Studio DXA for both the architecture and the interiors. We also have a very robust internal staff that dedicates at this. Dedicates at the design and kind of curation of this, even the construction oversight. We brought on a creative branding agency that we work with quite a bit up in Boston called Proportion, but they spent a lot of time here getting ingrained in the neighborhood to learn what type of attractions, how you can inform the brand. So this really felt like it was part of this community here, both in the amenities and kind of the aesthetics of this as well. And that's really something that we pride ourselves with and bring very early in the design process to make sure that this feels like a very kind of holistic stitched together project. We also hired a Broadway Construction Group, a very professional contractor, an outfit who's doing a tremendous job building this. We will deliver in, well, hopefully this month. We're going to be doing our TCO walk. As some of the other folks in the room know, it's always kind of a stressful moment when you're kind of leading up to that to make sure everything's in order and you're ready for that walk. We hope to process that paperwork through July and start welcoming residents really September 1st. No promises, but we're trying to pull that forward. Originally, this was slated to open in October, November. We got a little impatient. We wanted to kind of bring this into the summer season. So we really blitzed on the construction of this. So most of the units here are 1 bedrooms and 2 bedrooms. We try and create a lot of variety within that offering. So we have quite efficient 1 bedrooms. That'll be on the smaller end of like 600 square feet, up to some 1 bedroom plus some flex office and den spaces for folks that might be, you know, we call them baby maybes, right? Couples that might be welcoming in a kid and want an extra space. You know, my son personally slept in a closet for the first year of his life. So it's nice to have those kind of extra spaces there as well. But in this new work from home environment, having that kind of extra space is also nice to have as well as a number of 2-bedroom offerings on the upper part of the building. Roughly 50% of these units have outdoor space between terraces on the upper levels on 7, 8, and then some balconies along the back side of the building. Let's see what else here. We get some great skyline views. The amenities are really exciting. Again, this is kind of a boutique offering. We really tried to design these amenities so that they felt like really an extension of your home. If you're living in 600 square feet, we wanted this to feel like you've had a couple thousand square feet. So all residents can enjoy a rooftop penthouse lounge here, which extends to a pretty large roof terrace that goes down towards the east side of 126. Really great views. You can see the George Washington Bridge. You can see towards the north, you can see south skyline views of the park. We have reservable grill areas, a recreational lawn that will have projectors, so folks can have a movie night, reservable grill areas, sun loungers, misters, and kind of a secret garden kind of tucked in there. So we really had fun curating these amenities up top. On the lower end, bear with me, please. There it is. There's the rooftop there. Let's get a nice view towards the south. Fitness center. Fitness center is, always a really important amenity. We wanted this to feel like your home gym. So small details and kind of changing the materials of the gym equipment, really curating and working with the consultant to make sure that the most modern equipment and offering was offered. This also has an outdoor component immediately on the back side of it. We wanted that to be a very quiet amenity. So we call that a wellness garden, which is dedicated to more yoga or meditation in the back, because there will be residents with private terraces on the back end, as well as our neighbors towards the rear. So we wanted it to be more of a quiet kind of amenity tucked back. Inside we have some co-working office space, obviously from this new work from home kind of model, something that felt like a living room, some cafe, some breakout work pods, and some conference abilities with modern Zoom and Teams capability, which we hope the residents will enjoy, as well as some multimedia rooms. We call them listening rooms. We tried to kind of lean in a little bit to kind of a nod to the past and some nostalgia of listening rooms that use vinyl, that's not just digital all the time. Try and not put a TV in there. Maybe have some podcast equipment if you want to hang with your friends, or just something a little bit different. Create a variety of spaces there. And then just quick preview of what some of these residents look like. These are typical 1-bedroom offerings. You'll notice towards the front door of both these units, they have that kind of extra office den space where someone can put use as a nursery, or they can use as an office. We think a lot about our kitchen design to make sure that these are usable. I can't tell you how many residents I've walked in and there's no drawers for your utensils. We think about all that stuff to make sure that this is actually a full working kitchen, space for dining, space for ample living, ample storage within these units. We really try and use and leverage every single inch here. And then of course, wherever we can provide some outdoor space. I think that that's from a quality of life standpoint, extremely important. And then some of our larger 2-bedroom offerings, really an extension of the same type of kind of in-unit amenities there. You'll have Bosch appliances here. This will be washer dryers in every single unit. We have a very resilient engineered flooring product that looks like a wood product. It's not a wood product, it looks just like that, and is extremely durable. And again, really thoughtful kind of unit kitchen and bathroom design within that. So that's kind of just an overview of the project. This will be market rate. We will start leasing hopefully towards the end of this month. Just hearing some of the questions that came up before, we are also part of the city's. This is a voluntary affordable program. It's it really functions the same way. So you work for with a non-for-profit. You have to go through a lottery system. It's a pretty strict system, the way that you have to list this. But honestly, we are all ears to better ways in which we can, advertise this within the community as well. We're gonna have our doors open here in the next 2 weeks. So, welcome all of you to come by, say hello. We're working with M&S Leasing, who will be on site and taking appointments. And then we have 3 model units, and we'll have full-time staff there starting in July. Should also mention that we have Pinnacle Property Management here. Will there be, coverage around the clock, 7 days a week. And we're excited to be part of this community and really appreciate you having me in. So happy to take any questions.
You'll be having a doorman.
Yes, yeah, we will have.
Okay. Also, I know you have a parking lot on 126th Street. Your sanitation from 90 buildings, are they gonna be coming out on 126?
So we do have a corridor of 126 where we look for pickup, in terms of, that was your question.
Yes. Do you have enough bins for them? Because
We
I
do.
noticed on 127th and Park, they don't have enough bins and we have a rat problem.
Yeah,
as
so
well.
it's a great point. So one of the things that we thought about in this building to make sure that we can keep that garbage storage inside for as long as you can until it's actually a pickup night where it kind of moves out. So there's a compactor room that sits in the cellar of this area with an abundant space for kind of the week's storage that happens, and then it gets moved at the last minute. We'll be on 126th Street. And then to your other half, there's of your question, there is a parking garage that'll be off 126th Street.
Okay. Will you have bins for the building?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Because on, like I said, on 127th and Park, they don't have enough, and we have a rodent as well as people problem. My second question is, how well is the building going to be lit?
Oh, that's a great question, and something that we thought quite a bit about. We have perimeter lighting around the entire Madison and 126th Street side. So there'll be a kind of a warm glow to this that will light the street and then up the building at night.
Okay, are you gonna have any speakers on the outside so the doorman can say, please do not loiter around the property because we have an issue with that?
No speakers, but we'll make sure that they're proactive on outside.
Well, we don't want them to confront the people because they're mentally ill as well.
Sure.
So you're taking the safety of the doorman. So if you have a speaker in the building outside, please keep it moving. We are recording you, okay? That will help the staff get along.
No, that's a great suggestion.
What's the cost for an affordable apartment?
That's a
The range?
question that I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay.
That's something that we're kicking off. We're in the marketing process right now with HPD, so a lot of those get crystallized, and we'll start, the lottery process will start sometime in August. So that will get crystallized.
So you don't know the income range I need to have to get an affordable apartment?
I don't know at this time.
So do you know the criteria I need to have an affordable apartment?
Well, there's particular AMI bands that are associated with this, but what I'm happy to do is connect with Design New York, who's leading this effort through the city.
Question over there, yeah, come right back. Get my exercise.
How you doing? My name is Dorian, and I'm a resident of Madison Avenue, 128th, which is called Marion S. Taylor. It's a reintegration building, and Mayor Adams stated that once a property comes up in the low-income community, that y'all will be accepting vouchers, such as the city FEPs or anything like that for the people that's on food stamps. How does that work for them to get in this type of building?
That's a great question. So that also is a pretty kind of strict process with HPD. There is a lottery, but the city will allow for vouchers in this building as well. So that's not prohibited from this building.
So what you're saying is that people that's on low income will be allowed to
Yes,
lease one of those apartments?
yes.
As far as the shelter people too?
Anyone eligible for a voucher, right, in terms of the city-sponsored program there, will be eligible with.
And the reason why I say that is because you built it in Harlem where it's low income people at, and I believe that and there's mad people that's sleeping all out on the streets. And I just heard the gentleman over there says it's gonna be lighting and things of that nature. We have this issue with the people that's landless rehabs nowhere to live, I believe that that's a nice building right there. They should have the opportunity to come there too.
And we agree.
If they wanted to find that information out, where would you direct them?
Oh, sorry, let me come over.
So if people in his position wanted to find how they get into that building, where do we find that information?
Wait, hold on a second, hold on.
Hi there. So I live on this block and just a few doors down and past the other construction site, which is a huge problem given its lack of construction and that it's stalled. And so there's a lot of activity that happens there. So as part of our block, as our neighbor there, what is your sort of thought about how to help just keep the block a place that's livable, especially for your tenants and for the rest of us on the block?
Yeah, it's something we think a lot about. We've explored a lot of different avenues. I think you're referring to the construction of the Methodist Church new building that's stalled.
Correct.
We've been in a lot of communication with them, and we've been basically taking over a lot of the security efforts to make sure that we can keep that lit, and then leveraging our security personnel through construction to make sure that that stays as safe as possible. There's not really a ton that we can do since it's not our property. We try and help as much as we can in terms of garbage removal and keeping that clean, and keeping it lit and keeping the security on. We do want to continue doing that through operations, obviously, because our residents will be part of this community like everyone else here in this room. We want to make sure that we can, maintain them the safest levels. But it not being our property, we don't have a ton of control over it.
So for the gentleman who had the question of being low income, had a voucher, where can he get information? Where would you advertise so he could get information, people in his position, to get information to come into your building, to rent into your building?
Well, since we're a little bit ahead of this process, and we have to be somewhat careful because the city is pretty strict in terms of how we approach this. I mean, they really regulate that process. So there are online resources to do this. But to the point made about advertising at the building's location, we're happy to do that. And I think that our leasing team probably can direct anyone that approaches the property with that type of interest who wants to use a voucher or enter into the lottery. They can direct directly with the groups that we're working with who are interfacing with HPD.
One more quick question.
Really not a question, but respectfully, everybody that came here, everything's already a done deal. None of these people have responses or answers to any of our questions that we're asking. He doesn't know how this gentleman is gonna be able to get in, so my question to us is, why didn't we get this before this started?
I don't think they've done the
No.
lottery yet.
They haven't done a
We
lot.
haven't done the right.
So we get this information before the building is built. All this conversation that we're having now should have happened years ago. It's already done.
Well, that's one of the things that we need to speak to our political leaders,
Yeah, it's already done.
because a lot of times what happens is, like you said, we hear about it after the fact. And that's no offense to you, I'm just saying that it happens after the fact.
Part of the issue, and I think it's, understand the frustration with that, is that we are not actually empowered to make those decisions ourselves. We have to go through a pretty strict compliance city process for that, and we try and respect it. And talk to folks as much as we can and be in the community and try and direct to the resources as much as we possibly can. But I wish I could, directly help that process, but we can't.
My very quick question, because this apartment building is a rental, I think you have, parking,
Yes.
so, how will that be done?
So the parking currently is, there are 17 spaces which will be offered for residents here. At one point, it was contemplated that this would be a little bit more robust of a public parking facility with, and it was upwards of, I think it was 60 spaces. It was not feasible to do that, just given some of the constraints. I mean, you'd have to go an additional level for it, so we couldn't do it.
Okay. One quick. Actually, yeah, which is the VP and Director of Mental Health and Housing Services, and then Val Major, Senior Community Housing Manager. I'm not sure if she's here, but Val are. So we ask you to come forward, give them a warm welcome.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Isabel Surface. I'm Senior Vice President, Director of Communications for Odyssey House. I've been working for Odyssey House for 25 years. Odyssey House has been in Harlem for over 55 years. So we are, Odyssey House is part of the fabric of Harlem. I'm part of the fabric of Odyssey House. Janice Glenn, my colleague, who's Vice President, Head of Mental Health Housing and Community Residence, has been with Odyssey House more than 30 years, right, Jan? Dr. Val Major, who's head of our community residences, our senior director there, has been with us close to 10 years. So that's who we are up here today. In a moment, I'll show you the building. You don't want to see the building? Oh,
No, go ahead, show your stuff. We want to see the building.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's-
This building, I don't know, have any of you live on 126th Street? Several, okay.
Let's
So,
look at property value.
so you guys have watched this building
Yeah.
being
Can we let us
constructed?
No, because they
Hey,
all the
Can,
time.
no, can we let them present? This is not how I conduct a meeting. They're here to present. If you can't wait, you can leave. Go
Okay,
ahead.
thanks, Natalie. Yeah, it's just a quick presentation. I am very happy to take questions, as are my colleagues. So I'm not trying to do anything other than give you a full overview of this building. We came here last year and showed folks that we're here. I'm tall, so the building, that's a rendering of it on 126th Street. Here is a photo taken, I'm really sorry, I can't show you on the screen. On Monday, the building is exactly the same as what we told everybody it would look like, down to the facings on the building, down to the landscaping at the front, the entrance level. All of it is exactly the same as the renderings that we shared for close to, I think, 10 years. This is the back of the building. You can see it has a very small courtyard. It's not a very wide building, but what our architects did was use every inch of available space. That's urban architecture at its best. And so that is available and accessible to all of the tenants in the building. This little backyard there. I don't know if anybody here lives on that, next to that. All right. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Okay.
Okay. You go this way. And it should advance. Sorry for the technical difficulty.
I'm going to get the gentleman ahead before me up to help him.
Maybe
I can do it from the back. Oh, here we go. Sorry. Oh, that was loud. I'm so sorry. Yeah, here we go. I got it. I got it. This is what I just showed you, the front of the building, the back of the building. This is probably a bit hard for you to read, but this is really what the building will have in it. It's 21 studio units. 15 of them are for people from New York State Office of Mental Health that have been have worked extensively to live independently, and 6 of them are for people in the community. The average size of each unit is about 300 square feet. These are studio apartments. I'm sorry, these are quite, there's not so much of the building. This really just says what I just told you. The lottery will be for the 6 units. This is handled in accordance with New York State Homes and Community Renewal, Fair and Equitable Housing Office. They provide a email for that and a portal for that. Odyssey House also has an email for people who want to come directly and ask us any questions. Again, that is done by how the state does, housing to make sure it's fair and open to everybody in the city. Okay, and then they are the 6 units then are 60% of AMI, which we've been told for this community is $62,250. So that would be the income limit, the maximum income, and people who qualify for that then can go forward with the lottery. Okay. This is one of the studio units. They offer a couple of different options. This one has a full kitchen, along one wall. All electric. These are all brand new appliances. Everything's there. Your drawers, you know what you need. They will also come when the unit is closer to finishing. We cannot put furniture in yet until we have the TC of O, and they will have a single bed, a table and 2 chairs. Some other household items will go into that depending on need. This is another unit I just mentioned that has a corner kitchen. This is just looking at from out into the front of 126th Street. Every unit, there are, if you can remember the front of the building, most of the units will have 2 full-size windows. There is one line there that has one very big window, but most of them are like this. And there's a bathroom, standard kind of bathroom. They are all handicap accessible. And one, I should say handicap adaptable. One is already accessible, one is already being fitted out that way, and all the others can be adapted depending on need of the individuals that are coming into the building. There we go. And that's it. And this is Odyssey House, and that's our website. You want to reach us? Any questions? Go ahead. Callie.
Your 2021 annual report shows that only 68% of your clients complete treatment, which means nearly 1 in 3 residents fail to finish, leaving our neighborhood to deal with the fallout of incomplete care. When this happens, the Harlem community on a daily have to deal with drug use on our corners, discard syringes in front of our homes, and loitering near schools and parks. What systems are in place for individuals who leave your facility without completing treatment or overcoming their addiction?
Thank you very much. Thanks very much for that question. Can I just clarify, this is not a substance abuse treatment program?
I am not done.
Okay, can I just qualify before I answer? This is not a substance abuse program. This is permanent
Okay,
housing.
so that's based on some facts.
Wait.
Go ahead, I'm gonna wait for you.
So,
Yeah,
you know,
I'm done. Go ahead.
I mean, I'm here to talk about the housing project that we are about to open later this summer.
I'll address you on that. You have 4 facilities within a few blocks from East 125th Street, right? In November 2024, there was a fatal stabbing inside your facility. In 2017, a 1-year-old child died. These are not isolated incidents. They point to an ongoing failure of oversight and public safety. Why is Harlem expected to carry the weight of multiple Odyssey Houses facilities while wealthier neighbors like the Upper East Side, Forest Hills, or Park Slope have none? What is your criteria determines where these sites are placed, and why is it always Harlem?
Right.
Can I just answer the what you are referring to? Yes, it was a very tragic event that happened at the end of last year between 2 residents in our substance abuse program. It was tragic for obviously the individuals concerned. The agency has not been found at fault for that, but we are working with the families. We are working with the judicial system to, whatever their investigation takes. That is a substance abuse treatment program. You're referring to the Manor facility on 121st Street, 219, 121st. That building and that program has been there for close to 40 years. It has at any one time 150 to 200 people. Events such as that, has never happened in my career at Odyssey House. That is the first and only time for that.
Okay, but the question is, why?
Okay, wait. I would like to hear from someone else. No, wait. Wait, no, we're not here to bring opposition. She can't answer everything that you have. Next person. I've got a person over here. I have a person over here. Please stop disrupting. Stop disrupting. No.
It's not her. Right.
the people you vote for.
Thank
You guys should have been arguing about this years ago.
Yes.
Y'all wait till the shit comes
Right.
before y'all say anything. Now you're in here acting retarded, asking these people,
Right.
these are the people they sent to convince you that it's gonna be great.
Exactly.
They don't know nothing.
Exactly.
You vote for these fools. You don't come out before the stuff happens.
Right.
And this Harlem is zoned for this crap.
Right.
They won't put it past 96 feet. This is the basic needed.
I'll admit, I mean, I'm a resident of 126th Street and Fifth Avenue, and I attended this really because I thought, my assumption was that the housing would predominantly be for rehabilitation. Yes, I won't, lie. I think most of us assume that. If that's not the case, it's just low-income housing for residents that can apply for it.
Can I clarify that?
Sure.
It's 21 units. 6 are for low-income residents with a lottery from New York City. That would be, that's a lottery system. We don't control that. The sort of major issue for that is income and who applies, and the lottery goes from there. The other 15 are for people that have been referred for housing from the Office of Mental Health.
Okay, look,
But these are people who have been through an extensive process of recovery, of living independently, and, are all amongst us all the time, honestly. And this is a low-density apartment building with staff 24/7. You have, in answer to the lady over there's question, because Odyssey House has a number of buildings in this part of town, we do have a lot of staff, we have a lot of expertise, we have a lot of resources to bring. So it's not a building all by itself without the benefit of a large staff group around it who has experience. Janice Glenn, who's our Vice President of Mental Health Housing, has been running close to 450 units like this and various others, scattered site, standalone buildings, for close to 30 years. There's very little that Odyssey House hasn't seen and dealt with. And we are a neighbor, if anybody, knows 121st Street between 2nd and 1st Avenue, they will know our block to be a very good block, a very safe block.
No, it's not.
Well, I live on East 126th Street. I'm probably the longest resident of East 126th Street.
Okay, sir.
Now, we have issues now with On Point down the block. We have a heavy drug runoff in the blocks surrounding On Point. Right now, in front of your building, there's probably an encampment of drug addicts.
Yes.
They were there for the last 2 or 3 days. How are you going to combat your ex-drug addicts with the drug addicts that are all over the community now? I mean, heavier than it ever was, even back in the 60s. What are you going to do?
Well, one of the things that Odyssey House does, and we're not alone in this, is that we have street outreach teams that work with On Point and all the other providers, from the methadone maintenance clinics to the various other substance abuse hospitals, clinics in the area. And we have a very active admissions process where people come into our programs, which are residential substance abuse treatment programs. Again, this is a housing program. There is nobody coming into the building there that doesn't live there.
I understand that. Bugs are right there.
They're right across the street.
Drug addicts are right there.
Yeah, I understand your concern, sir. The same as what you all want, Odyssey House wants as well. So that's why we do our street outreach programs. We've been doing them for years. We provide services not just in that part of East Harlem, but on Lord's Island. We go where the need has been greatest and is greatest, and we take it very seriously, how we can bring people into our programs.
You're looking on the east side of in commercial blocks, across from Wagner Projects, but not in a residential block. This is a residential block.
Yeah, I mean, I do know the history of this. I don't know how many people have lived on 126 for a long time. I'm sure some of you have. You can know it better than me. This was an abandoned building for an awfully long time. It was presented to Odyssey House. It was never going to go on the open market. It was deeded by the city to be run by a non-profit. The church, they didn't really sell it. That's not quite right. They sold it. They sold it. Sold it, sorry. They relinquished it to another non-profit, and Odyssey House was chosen to develop it. So this was never anything was going to come on the open market. It was always going to be non-profit funded supportive housing. And that's been 10 years since we started this.
Is this a done deal?
I think the gentleman before me here was putting it quite well, succinctly. I am a little bit curious, you know, I think you painted a good picture. It's just a little scant on the details. So you
Okay.
mentioned there's gonna be staffing 24/7 at the facility.
Yeah.
So like, is it gonna be X people always? Like, is there a guard? Like, is somebody watching the outside? Is somebody watching the back?
Yeah.
And
You know, I can, you might want to hear from someone else now, but for me, let me introduce our, the manager that's going to be running that program. It's part of his portfolio, Dr. Val Major. You wouldn't mind coming up, Val?
In the stable, safe housing, along with a stable, safe community, a supportive community. That's the hope. And to your question,
Hope.
cameras, I think that will, dissuade individuals from operating in front of the facility or the unit. There's 24-hour, not guards, but resident assistants that are observing, cameras, throughout the building and, outside of the building. So, I promise to oversee it to the best of my ability, to provide the most qualified staff and to give oversight. It is not a substance abuse program, but we know that individuals that suffer from mental illness do require support, and we will give 24-hour support with case managers, connecting them to services when assessed to be necessary. And I don't know what else we could do to support or to make you feel better. So, oh, I'm sorry.
Hi, I'm a resident of 126th Street as well. I've been there for about a year and a half. My question is more about the negative externalities that might result from, you know, the position of this facility on the block. And we already deal with, you know, the negative externalities associated with On Point across the street. I mean, what's been created by the lack of enforcement of possession law is essentially an open air drug market. And putting this type of facility, I mean, with all of us having the background knowledge that mental health and drug abuse can run hand in hand, putting this facility across the street from what is essentially and practically an open air drug market, do you feel that you're serving the members of that facility in the best capacity possible by placing it where it is?
Well, I think that, you know, first, I wish we could control the whole community, but we can't. So what we can do is to carefully and fully assess the individuals that are going to be placed there, ensuring that they're stable, ensuring that they're connected to service, and ensuring that they have the opportunity to live like everybody, every other individual that might suffer from some kind of depression or any other mental health illness. We all have our nemesis, and these individuals are going to be supported. They are going to be assessed, and they're not just chosen arbitrarily, but, you know, specific requirements to meet eligibility.
We have a question here and then I'm coming over there.
Hi, how are you? My name is Sammy and I live right next door to the site. I've got a 7-year-old son and certainly been hearing a lot of noise from the encampment that's sprung up. My question is, can you commit to us now that you will help clear out any encampment that's in front of your building, since it's set back? I hear you on the cameras. I'm pretty skeptical that that's gonna make any difference. But I'd love to hear you commit right now to say, yes, if there is a bunch of nonsense that's happening in front of our property, that you, Odyssey House, will take responsibility for that.
I can say yes within, like she said, legal limits.
Yeah.
But we are, and I promise you, we are an active participant with the community. Illicit behavior, illicit drug use is not okay with us. We don't promote it and we don't approve of it. Can we go out and ask them to move ourselves? No, but we will contact authorities when it's necessary.
I appreciate that. I do think that certainly within a legal limit, folks have been, it's not hard to move them along. It just takes somebody to be persistent.
Yeah.
And can we knock on the door? Like, what's the process? to, if there's an issue for us to handle that in non-policy way, but just in neighborhood.
Once the building is open with staff, which will be probably in the next 2 months, there will be somebody there 24/7. So if you're a member, a neighbor, you want to knock on the door, they will, take your question, funnel it through to either Val or Janice or me at Odyssey House, and you will get our attention. This is a big investment by us onto this block. We put a lot of effort into bringing a very nice building there. We put a lot of effort into making it look like it fits in with the block as well. We are confident it will be a success. We think you will forget that your neighbors are anything different than the rest of you here tonight. That's our goal. That is our goal for these people.
Tony, wait. Tony, and then I'll have to come back.
Okay, I just heard you say it's gonna be 2 months before you have someone there to watch the building.
Staff on duty. We have right now it's a construction site, so construction people have security all the time in the city.
There's no construction, there's nobody there. And also,
They said it's not me.
Okay, well, he's letting us know if there's any issues. I know over the years, we've put up different fencing, we've cleaned out the lot, we've been back and back and back to do that. The construction got delayed with COVID. New York City construction is, I don't know, this gentleman here might be finding it out. It's never an easy, fast thing, but we are at the end of this now.
I also noticed that there are people standing out there using drugs, sleeping there, and it's also not well lit. You only have 2 bulbs there, one over the main door and your door, which I guess you can take your trash out. The building is not well lit. I know you don't have the building yet and it's under construction, but there is no security there. They're out there all night. People live across from the building. They're there dealing with drugs, everything else, and it's your building and you're building it there on our block. Now, you see, there's a lot of people here from 126th Street between Park and Madison.
Yes.
We welcome you, but we want results.
Okay.
That's all.
Yes.
Thank you for your
Light up the
concern.
building.
I promise you to take a look and see if we can get more lighting, which I'm sure that we can.
You could go there now and hang out there.
No, I'm sure that we can get lighting. But what I also want to say is it's scheduled for July 1st to be staffed, which is a few weeks from now.
It's not month yet, you're right.
Yeah.
I am bringing up the lighting issue, so.
Yeah.
I already answered that.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Let a bossy.
Yes, I'll try to be quick. I met you and Janice, right?
Yes.
At the rock show, yes, nice to meet you.
And I remember reflecting the exact same views that my neighbor did. That why would you put it there? Because you're only perpetuating the problem. Without repeating anything anybody else said, this morning I went on a morning walk. Literally, there's an encampment with the radio. They are waiting for your constituents to come in. And I just want to say that because I like to make sure I understand both sides, I listen to enough Fox News to understand labeling. What your housing program is the end of the drug rehabilitation program. And what you're going to do is put them back in the cycle, almost like recidivism, and get them back as addicts. And you know this, and we all know this.
I just need to correct that.
And I do want to acknowledge also that there are about 50 people online with questions and I just cannot read that all. I'm sorry. And I know you're going to be working there. I appreciate you. You have a great heart. But so does the people that work at On Point. We've talked to their outreach over and over again. They are very staffed. They do tours all around. And you see what the problem is. I do not think you're well equipped to support this
Well,
neighborhood.
I just want to make one correction. I keep hearing that individuals are going to be housed there that are released from substance abuse programs. I will admit that some of them have had hospital experiences, some of them have struggled with various issues, and they need housing as well. And they need supportive housing. They need affordable housing. There are other zip codes who don't support supportive housing.
As a drug problem.
Again, I do hear you on the harm reduction program on the corner on the issues in Harlem. Honestly, we like to be part of the solution in this, all right? We bring people in, we always have beds. We are out there asking people to come in.
It's not bringing it
This building is housing, it is not rehabilitation.
2 million in annual revenue, which is 70% of that coming from public funds and charitable donations. The CEO of your company makes 400,000 a year. What percentage of your annual 30 million budget is reinvested directly into Harlem service or infrastructure?
Any answers?
I mean, we are a non-profit that, as you'll see, the money that Odyssey House raises goes into program services. Odyssey House has a stated record of spending more money on programs, direct programs and services than is typical for our budget. And there is very little given to administrative overhead, if that's what you're referring to. These are state and city regulated programs. We have targets that we have to reach. We have treatment plans that we have to promulgate. This is a serious business when people come into a substance abuse program and they have been using fentanyl, other drugs. You know, these are people who are going to die if they don't get services. But this is a housing program. We are not talking about the same thing. This is 21 units of supportive housing.
Okay. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to end. We only have the time so much, but this was good questions. And as you said, you want to be a good neighbor.
Yep.
So we need this conversation to continue. And as someone said, if there are issues that happen, we need to know who to go to escalate things to get results, to
Yeah.
get resolution. And that's very important for the people. I live on 126th Street as well. And it is true that if they're so close to people that are using right now
And pushing.
and all that kind of stuff, it just makes a cyclical cycle.
I understand.
And so we need to know that you're partners with us
Yeah.
to fight this, because it's important.
We are
It's very
with you
important.
on this. Now, you know, Hallie has
don't need
contacted me several times. You know, she's a vehicle for you all to use. I assume if you want to get
Am I
in
muted?
with me or any of my other colleagues. Odyssey House has a website. You know, it's up there, odysseyhousenyc.org. You can send emails, you can contact us. We are very responsive.
And what I would ask, if you could send a document on what we talked about today in terms of how you can do resolution, because someone asked, what is the protocol? Do I knock on the door? Do I call somebody? We need that kind of information, so everyone is equipped with it, so when they see something, they can say something and know that they're being heard, right? We want to know that we're being heard.
We want to make sure that we're doing something.
Right, and that something's getting done, yes.
You know what, guys? You're going to help us and we're going to do it together. I mean, that really is the case, right? The people that are going to live there are going to benefit by all of you paying attention as well.
Oh, we're paying attention.
So you're our partners, we value that. I'm here today, I'm back here, I was here last year, I'll come back again to talk to you about it. We are gonna open the building probably at the end of the summer. When we do that, we'll let you know. You can come in and take a look around.
That would be nice.
All right?
Facilities, nothing has changed.
Thank
You know
you.
what's going on.
We thank you. We thank all of our guests. We thank Stephen Stoller. We thank Annalise Cooper Hackman. We thank Isabel. We thank Janice. We thank Val. They took out time to come and hear our hard questions and hear our hard judgment. And thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.